Daniel here for Tabletop for One. Please join me at the table as I teach and play through Fighting Fantasy Adventures. And I thank you for joining me for this tutorial and solo playthrough of Fighting Fantasy Adventures. Fighting Fantasy Adventures is a dungeon crawling adventure game, kind of like a choose your own adventure game, designed by Martin Wallace, presented by Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone. And it's coming to Kickstarter on July 1st. Now, I've been provided with a preview prototype copy. That, with the help of the Hungry Gamer, he helped make it possible for me to have this opportunity. So I thank him for that. And if you would do me a favor, head over to the Hungry Gamer's YouTube page and give him a like and a subscribe. That'd be helpful to him. He has helped me get quite a few projects, and so I appreciate him for that. I'll have a link to his YouTube in my comments. And so with this prototype copy, a couple things need to be understood. The art is not final here. They're going to be changing the art and improving it. And this particular scenario here is not going to be included in the game, the pledge that you would pledge for on the campaign. This particular scenario was created for us content creators to give you a playthrough, an idea of how the game plays. And so I will be going through the story and reading each of the cards as we go, since it will be spoiler free, since this won't be part of the actual game. This should give you a good idea of how the game plays and what to expect in the actual production copy of the game. Now, there are a couple of elements like leveling up that you will not see in this playthrough, which will be part of the game itself. Alright, so when you set up for an adventure, you'll have your tactical board here. You're going to set up your characters, and these are going to be the order in which they enter a room. You see the first, second, third, and fourth here. And that can have an effect on when you enter a room. It'll say, you know, if the mage or if the scout or if the healer entered first, then this happens. So you get to change your layout or your order of entry before you enter a room. I'm going to start out with the scout first. I do the scout with most of them. And I put the healer last and the mage. Now, I have played through this already, but I don't, my memory's not that good, so I don't remember exactly what happens in each room. I have a kind of a good idea, but we'll see how it plays out. It's going to be fun nonetheless. And so then you take the first room of the dungeon and set it here. Anytime that you go to a room, you're going to be putting your little marker here to indicate that the party has moved to that room. And then you're going to read a card from the encounter deck. And so this card says, your quest is to retrieve the Orb of Lucis. This is kept in a chest that can only be opened by the correct positioning of 3 special coins. You need to find the coins and the chest. Be aware, there are nasty creatures and traps out there. And then sometimes the encounter cards will have you turn them over to resolve something on the back. In this case, this one does not. But once you've read the card and dealt with any threats or whatever in the room, you'll go ahead and flip this over, and it shows the grayed out number 1 here to indicate that this room has been resolved. And so now let's talk about the characters here. Who is our party? Well, we have a scout, we have a warrior, and a mage, and then we have a healer. And on each of these characters, you'll see various stat values here. The sword and shield is your combat value. The heart is your stamina or health. And then the four-leaf clover, of course, is your luck. And so as you do different encounters, you're going to be losing stamina or using your combat value. And your luck is to re-roll rolls. You actually re-roll both the monsters and the characters' rolls. We'll kind of go over that in a minute. But you're going to start out with also all your level 1 cards. You'll see it says level 1 at the bottom here. And so some of these cards have different abilities and they'll do different things. And so this one here says improved reactions. After you roll your dice, you can add 2 to the total. This can be used in all situations. You cannot use this card to help another player though. And so anytime that you use a card, you're going to either take it out of the deck or I flip it over to indicate that it's been used. And you can't use it again for the entire campaign or the entire scenario, sorry. And so the rogue has the scout has 3 of those improved reactions and also a deadly dagger here that says if you're not the lead hero in combat, then you can use this ability. Roll 6 or more on 2 dice to inflict 2 damage on the target. This counts as resolving 1 round of combat. If you win the combat, then you regain the use of this card. So this one can be reused depending on the scenario, but right now he's in the lead position, so I wouldn't be able to use this card while he's in the lead position. The warrior has a shield that blocks damage. He also has one of the improved reactions, and then a mighty blow, which does extra damage when you damage somebody. The mage has invisibility, which can be used during the adventure or to fight an entire combat at a +2 skill and reduce damage by 2. So that's really helpful. The firebolt here, it can do an immediate 3 damage on a target, and it counts as the round of combat if you wish, or you can still roll for combat. I'll explain rolling for combat in a minute. And then you have protection here, block all damage from 1 attack, either against you or another hero, and another firebolt here. Then the healer here has a couple of healing hands that heals up to 3 damage, and this is used outside of combat, and it can actually resurrect a character if need be. Rejuvenation here lets another character gain one of their hero cards back. Courage here, you play this before dice are rolled in combat. Choose another hero. They gain +2 skill for the entire combat situation, but it cannot be played on the healer. And then there's a staff block here where the healer can engage 2 enemies at the same time, but can't do any damage, but she gets +2 to the skill, and it just allows her to safely block attacks while your other characters are dealing the damage. Alright, so anytime that you encounter an enemy, you of course will read the encounter card first, and then you'll do the combat. When you do a combat, you'll line your characters up against an enemy. If it's one enemy, let's say it's just a single enemy in a room, then what you'll do is you'll line up your characters. You'll have one closest to the enemy in the column, and then you'll choose where to line them up behind that character. This is called ganging up. And so what will happen is the characters here will get plus to their attacks. So the warrior here would get +1 to her modifier, +2 for the mage, and +3 for the healer, while the scout will have no modifiers. Now, if there are multiple enemies, each enemy has to at least have one character fighting against it. So let's say we set it up like this, and we could put these 2 here, or these 2 like this, and gang up that way. Some enemies may require 3 heroes or more to be engaged at the same time. At that point, you put them all in the straight line, and then you can put one behind to gang up. You might see that in this scenario. We'll see if we encounter that creature. So when you're in combat, what's going to happen is you're going to roll these dice here. The black dice are going to represent the enemy, and the white dice are going to represent the characters. And so when you roll, you just roll for everything, and then you take your total value here. So I have 5 here. Let's say I was attacking with the scout. Scout has 7 combat value. You add that to the 5, making 12. And then you compare it to the total on the enemy. Let's say the enemy had 7 combat value as well. You'd add it to the 4 here. That'd be 11. So the 12 beats 11 by 1. Then you would do 1 damage to that enemy. So the difference between the total values is how much damage that gets done, either to the enemy or to the character. There, of course, could be other modifiers that we might encounter, but we'll see that as we go. Once again, anytime that you decide you'd like to use your luck, you can take a -1 luck here, add it to your character to re-roll the entire roll and see how it goes. Of course, that was an even worse roll than the one before, so you have to be careful with that. Alright, and so there are going to be times possibly where you will lose a character. They will run out of stamina. At that point, you would take their character portrait, and let's say the mage had died here. You'd place it there, and you can leave them in the room if you'd like, or you can heal them and bring them back if you have the ability to do so, but sometimes you don't. Alright, so now we are ready to start the game here. We are in the first room here, and we want to decide which way do we want to go. Do we want to go towards the misty smell, the clicking sound, or the sulfur smell? And so I think what we will do is we'll go towards the musty smell here. And so again, before you move into a room, you have to decide your order, the left one being the first one to enter, and so on, second, third, and fourth. And so I'm going to keep that order, and we'll go ahead and move. Then you look in your dungeon deck for the number that you need. You pull that one out, and you place that room and it'll line up like this. It tells you that this connects to 1 here. This is room 1, this is room 21, so they connect just like that. Then you move your piece into that room, and then you're going to read the encounter card associated with that room. And so the encounter says, this room is full of broken furniture and ruined clothes, hence this musty smell. You may search the room if you wish. If you choose to do so, then flip this card. All right, we'll search the room. And it says you find a net. You decide it may be useful to take it with you. Choose one here to take this card. If you decide to use this net for any reason, then find card 26. All right, so we're going to go ahead and keep this net. I think we'll just go ahead and give it to the scout, so I'm just going to add it to his hand of cards here. And so at this point, we've resolved this room, so you just flip it right over, and it shows a completed room, and you're ready to move on. So we'll move one space over because there's nowhere else to move in this room, and I think we'll go towards the clicking sound. I'm going to keep this same setup here with the scout being first. So we move in. Oh my goodness, there's a bunch of enemies. So you're going to see on this card here is you have different enemies here, and they're labeled by letter. We have A, B, C, and D. It has their combat value and their stamina value. So we're going to be encountering 4 enemies. So we'll place our token here. And before we do anything, we're going to read from the card here. And so the card says, at first the room seems empty. If the scout is the first to enter, they will scan the room quickly, noticing 4 giant insects ready to drop on you. If they did lead, then the combat is resolved normally. If any other hero enters the room first, then all 4 insects get +2 to their skill for the first round of combat. If you defeat the insects, then you can search the room by flipping this card. All right, so since we entered in with the scout, they didn't get the drop on us. We still have to encounter them. So we get the monster tokens here. Again, a reminder that the art is not final here. So you'll see some improvement on all the art and the presentation. All right, so now combat happens. And the way it happens is it happens in order, first, second, third, and fourth. Each of these characters is going to line up to one of these enemies here. At the next round of combat, you're able to rearrange the characters if you'd like. But we're just going to go ahead and start this off, and it's going to be the scout against A. All right, so the scout rolled a 5, and the insect rolled a 7. So we add the 7 to the 5 here for the insect, and that's 12. We add my 5 to the 7 here for the scout, and that's 12. So at this point, nobody does damage to each other. Now, if I wanted to, I could spend luck and re-roll that. I don't think I will. I think I'll just let it happen that way. That way nobody gets hurt. And so now we're going to do the warrior here, and we'll roll. All right, the warrior got an 8, and the insect got a 6. The 6 plus the 5 is 11. The 8 plus 9 is 17, and that's going to do 6 damage to that insect. So we don't even have to put health markers here. Insect B is done. And now we'll do the mage here, and the mage is going to roll. Ooh, the mage got a bad roll here. 6 against a 10, which is a 12 against a 15. So the mage will take 3 damage unless I decide to do something like spending a luck to re-roll everything. So we'll go ahead and re-roll these here. Oh my goodness, even worse. It looks like. So 12 against 14. I guess that's not as bad. That is 2 damage. I don't know if I want to spend the luck or not right now. I guess I'll go ahead and spend the luck and re-roll. Come on, mage. Oh no. So 10 against 12. It's just not working out. So the mage is going to take 2 damage from that. And we'll move on to the healer. And the healer is rolling. Healer has a 12 against a 14. Again, you add the combat value of the creature they're fighting to their total. And so that means the healer would take damage. I think I'll go ahead and spend 1 luck. Man, my luck is really bad starting off here. All right, that looks a lot more promising. So we had 12 against an 18. That's 6 damage. That's going to kill off the second insect. All right. And so now we're going on to the second round of combat. At this point, I'm going to put the warrior behind the mage. Actually, you know what? I'll put the mage behind the warrior. We're going to rearrange here. Put the healer with the scout and line everything up here. And so the scout will go first, then the healer behind it, then the warrior, and then the mage. All right, so let's go ahead and roll for the scout here. And we have an 8 against a 5, which is actually a 15 against a 10. And so that's going to go ahead and kill that insect there. All right, so the healer's target's dead. We're going to move on to the warrior here. And let's see. We got a 5 plus 9, so 14 against an 11. And so that's going to do 3 damage. So we take one of the little stamina hearts there. And then we're going to go on to the mage. The mage is going to get +1 because it's gaining up on that enemy. And we'll see if we can pull out a win here. Let's see. So +1 makes this 5 to an 11. And then this is a 12. So the mage would take 1 damage. Yeah, I guess I'm going to allow it. So the mage is down to 4 health left, or 4 stamina. That's no good. And now we're going to rearrange. I'll just move these here. We're going to fight with the warrior again here. And that's going to be enough to absolutely defeat this monster, and this monster's dead. And so on the back of the encounter card here, we find the well-crafted sword. Only the warrior is trained in its use. Only they may take it. If you inflict damage with it, then you inflict 1 extra damage. Also, if you roll a 12, you automatically kill your target, even if it is immune to normal weapons. Well, that sounds awesome. So I'll add that to the warrior. And then we're going to flip this over here. And it shows the corpses of the 4 insects there. All right, so now we're ready to move on to the next room. Let's go ahead and reposition again here. I think I'm just going to go with the same position for now, having the scout in front. And then we're going to go to, we can either go to room 24 here or room 23. Those are the only 2 options. I think we'll go room 24. All right, so we have this new room here. We enter in. We're going to have to read the encounter card. And the encounter card says, there is a chalice on the table. It contains a clear liquid. Does any hero wish to drink it? If so, then nominate a hero to drink the liquid and flip this card. Well, from my former religious studies and time in Christianity, that looks like the Holy Grail glass. So maybe we should let the healer drink it, because she knows more about holy things than anybody else. And so let's see what it says. It says, if the healer drinks the liquid, they immediately recognize it as holy water. They stop drinking it and pour the contents into an empty bottle they're carrying. If the healer chooses to use the water, then find card 29. All right, if any other hero drinks it, then they all drink it and feel rather refreshed. So the healer's going to get holy water, and we'll see how that's used later. We'll go ahead and flip this card over to indicate it's done. And now we have an indication that the next room has flapping in it. Well, that doesn't sound good, but we're going to head that way anyways. And here's our new card. And so we're going to check out the encounter card for that. And the encounter says, the first hero to enter the room will immediately be attacked by a vicious imp. The imp gains +2 in the first attack, unless the scout is the first hero to enter the room. The first time you do damage against this imp, flip this card. All right. So the scout is the first one into the room. We're going to line everyone up here for the battle. And it's going to be a gang up of 4 against 1 here. Now this character only has 3 health and 9 combat value. So it doesn't get the +2 against the scout. And so we'll go ahead and roll here. Scout rolls an 8 plus 7. That's going to be 15. But the imp rolls a 9 plus 11. And that's going to be a 20. So that'd be 5 damage against the scout. Scout's thinking that's not really worth it. So we'll use a bit of luck and re-roll here. All right, this might be a little more promising. So we have a 6 with 7. That's 13 against, it looks like a 14. So the scout's going to take 1 damage. Next up is the warrior. Warrior's going to have a modification of +1. Warrior rolls an 11. Then the enemy rolls a 5. That's 14 against 20. So now we have to check out the encounter card. On the other side here it says, if you hit with normal weapons, then you finally simply bounce off the imp's metallic skin. You will need to think of another way to defeat the imp. Work out a plan, then find the card 32. The only other way I can think of, all I have is normal weapons, right? Except mage has a firebolt. It does 3 damage, which is the amount of health on the imp. So I think we'll go ahead and use the firebolt to try and kill the imp. And so we're going to find card 32. And so it says, if you have a net, then you can use it to catch the imp. You are then able to secure it safely. A firebolt will also be effective, otherwise you will have to retreat. If you succeed in defeating it, then you find a small necklace. If a hero wishes to wear it, then flip this card. Alright, well that's cool. We killed off the imp with the firebolt, so that was no problem. We'll flip this over here. And this is now gone. And so I think we'll give the necklace to the warrior. Let's see what it says. As soon as the hero places on the necklace around their neck, they feel a burning sensation. They remove it immediately. Unfortunately, the necklace is cursed and the hero loses 2 luck. Well, that is really unfortunate. Alright, so -2 luck. Alright, so now we have 2 options here. There's no hint as to what these rooms might be. So we have 5 and 18. I think I'll just go with the lower number and see what's there. And so this is our room here. And we move on in. And it shows an enemy here, but let's read the encounter card. And so the encounter card says, a rather timid-looking frogling is guarding a small chest. If you want to attack the frogling, then flip this card. If you want to talk to the creature, then find card 28. Well, I think I'd rather talk to the creature. I don't always want to attack. And so let's see what card 28 says. As soon as you open your mouths to talk to the creature, drops a spear and runs off, never to be seen again. If you wish to open the chest, then flip this card. Well, yeah, we want to open the chest. In the chest, you find a yellow coin. Well, that's cool. So we'll set this aside here. And so this is completed here. We'll flip it over. All right, I think we'll just keep continuing this way here, and we'll go to room 13. And here's that room here. We move on in. And so the encounter card for room 13 says there are 3 boxes in a line. If you wish to choose to open one, you can only open one at a time. Choose a hero and let them choose a box to open, either the right-handed one, the middle one, or the left-handed one. Then flip this card. Well, I'm right-handed, so we'll just go with the right-handed one. And it says if you choose the right-handed box, then you find a gold ring. If you choose any other box, then all 3 boxes crumble to dust. Does any hero wish to try the ring on? Then find card 33. Huh. The warrior had bad luck with the last bit of jewelry. Maybe she'll have good luck this time. So we'll have the warrior try it on. Alright, and it says the ring feels good. From now on, the wearer gains 1 free luck per encounter. In other words, they may re-roll the dice once per encounter without having to lose 1 luck point. I see. Now the luck has changed for the warrior. And so I'll add this card to the warrior's hand. And so we'll flip this card over here and see what we have. Now to the left here, we have loud clacking, and we're not sure what's to the right. Let's go ahead and go to the right here. And so we have this room here. We're moving in. Sorry, I meant to rearrange my characters, but it's the same order as before. I think I'll change it pretty soon, but I'm going to keep going this way. And so it says, a chest with a key. An inscription on it reads, whoever can open me owns me. If you wish to open the chest, then choose a hero to make the attempt and flip the card. Well, I would imagine the scout's probably good at opening chests, so we'll choose a scout. If the scout attempts to open the chest, then they will succeed. Find card 31. Alright, well let's check out card 31. In the chest is a cloak and a small scroll. The scroll informs you that the cloak is magic and will render the wearer invisible for a small period of time. So choose carefully when you wish to wear it. It also tells you to hand wash only with soap flakes. That's good to know. Only the scout can use this cloak. When they choose to do so, flip this card. Alright, so we'll add this to their hand as well. Alright, so let's see. We're going to go ahead and flip this over here and then decide which room we're going to go. I think I'm going to swap the warrior and the scout at this point. Make them the warrior the first into the room. And so we'll go into room number 11. And here we go. It looks like we have a new enemy to fight here. And it says, a mighty warrior guards a jar of something. If you defeat the warrior, you may investigate the jar by flipping this card. All right. So let's try and get the jar of something. So we're going to do ganging up again. We'll add the enemy here. Put all our characters in a line here. Starting off with the warrior. Let's hope for a roll of 12, right? So it's 17 against his 19. So I would take 2 damage. That's not good. Why don't I go ahead and use my free luck that I have once per encounter. Oh my goodness. Oh, he rolled 12. I almost rolled 12. That was so close. So that's a 20 against his 23. Ouch. You know what? I think at this point, I'm just going to have to use my shield and it's gonna go ahead and block all damage from that attack, and I will lose that card. All right, so we move on to the scout here. And since the scout wasn't the lead, I'm going to go ahead and use deadly daggers here, which lets me roll 2 dice. And if I get 6 or more, I inflict 2 damage on the target. All right, I got an 8, so that's good. That's going to do 2 damage to the target here. And so this counts as my combat roll. And so I'll set this aside. I may be able to recover this if we win this battle. And so now it's the mage's turn. I'm half tempted to use a firebolt, but I only have 1 left. So I'm just going to attack. I get a +2, so that makes an 8 to the roll. And so we have 8 plus 4 is 13. And then 4 plus 11 is 15. Well, I don't want the mage to take any damage, so we're going to use a luck. Now he's down to -3 luck. And let's try again. Oh my gosh, he's going to take even more damage. So let's use 1 more luck and try again. I didn't even calculate that. I just know he's going to take more damage. Okay, so we have a 15 against a 17. You know what? I'm going to let him take that damage. It's going to hurt. That brings him down to 2 health left. But I guess that's what I got to do right now. And so we go on to the healer's turn. The healer has a +3 to their modifier, so they start out with 10. And let's see what we can add to it. So 18 against a, 22. That is not good. So we are going to spend 1 on luck. Try again. So 18 against 16. I guess I'm going to take the 2 damage on the healer there. It's really tough. All right, so I'm going to rearrange combat here. I'm going to take the mage out of combat. When your heroes outnumber the enemy, you could take 1 out so it doesn't do anything, and that prevents them from taking damage by attacking. So I'm going to take the mage out of combat, and we're going to try again with the warrior here. So the warrior rolls a 6 plus the 9. That makes 15 against a 17 here. I'm going to go ahead and spend 1 of my lucks here, so we're at a -3 luck now. Let's try again. 7 against 7. I'm going to spend 1 more luck. Let's try this out. Here we go. 10. There we go. All right. So 10 plus 9 is 19 against 18. But because of my sword, I do an extra 1 damage. So there'd be 2 damage total. And that brings him down 4 health now. So he has 4 health remaining. All right. And so now we go on to the scout here. Scout has +1 modifier, so starting out with 8 combat. And that is not good enough. Not even close. We're going to spend 1 luck. Re-roll this here. Oh my goodness. Still not enough. I'm going to spend 1 more luck. This enemy is just formidable with that 11 in combat. This is not good. Alright, so 10 plus 7 plus 1. So 18 against a 16, and that'll be 2 damage. But you know what? I'm tired of fighting this enemy, so we're going to use the improved reactions, which adds 2 to the total. So instead now I have a 20 against the 16, and that's going to cause 4 damage. So 4 plus 4 being 8 total, we've killed off this enemy. And so the card here says that we may investigate the jar by flipping this card. And so we gain a healing potion. You recognize it as a healing potion. It will heal up to 3 damage to 1 hero. And it works the same way as a healing hands ability. We'll go ahead and use this right now and heal up the mage 3 hit points because the mage is hurting. Alright, so we're ready to flip over this card here. And now we got several rooms to go to. So we can go 17. We can go 23 down here. It's got a sulfur smell. So probably something on fire or something like that, or maybe a dragon or something. This one's got a digging sound. That sulfur smell, that makes me want to put the mage in front. And so I think I'll do that. And we'll go and we'll move into room 23. All right, so room 23 has a bunch of fireballs. Like I said, something was on fire. And so we'll read the encounter card. And so the encounter card says if the scout goes first, they will spot the trap and disarm it. Any other hero going first will trigger the fire trap, which envelops them in searing flame. They take 2 damage. Ouch, that hurt. And then we flip the dungeon card. And we notice 3 dragon emblems on the wall. You can investigate further if you wish by flipping this card. Well, yeah, we'll investigate. And it says you scratch at the images and remove flakes of paint. You can discover nothing special about them. They are what they are. Well, that's kind of a letdown. Now we have other rooms to move in. I think what we'll do is we'll move up here and we'll go up to room number 9. And so this is the new room here. Now we have 2 enemies showing up, and we'll have to read the encounter card. And it says there are 2 giant cockroaches. If you defeat them, you may search the room by flipping this card. All right. And so we have 2 giant cockroaches we're fighting here. And the mage and the warrior are going to be the first 2 there. I think we'll add these 2 behind like this. The cockroaches have 7 and 7. 7 in combat, 7 health. It's not too bad. But we're going to go ahead and attack with the mage first against A. And actually, it's not a bad roll. So 7 plus 6, 13 against their 11. So that'll do 2 damage. And then we'll do the scout there. The scout's going to roll. And the scout gets an 8 plus 8. So 16 against their 14. So that's going to do 2 damage. So that's pretty good. Now it's the warrior's turn to attack. Warrior gets an 8 plus 7, so 16 against a 14, doing 2 damage, but plus 1 because of the sword. So that's 3 damage. And then the healer's going to roll. Why couldn't I got these good rolls earlier? Alright, so their roll of 9 plus 7 is 16, but we have 10 plus 7 plus 1, so that's 18, so that's 2 more damage. So, Cockroach A has only 3 health left, Cockroach B has 2 health left, and we'll just keep going. I'm wondering if I should swap the mage and the scout here. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll roll with the mage first, or the scout first here. Oh, yeah. That's going to kill off that enemy, I think. Let's see. 8 plus 7, so 15 against an 11, and that's 4 damage. Yep, definitely killing off Cockroach number A, or letter A. And then we move on to the warrior. The warrior's going to attack. Oh, yeah. Finally, we got some good rolls here. So 19 against a 14, definitely eliminating the cockroach. And so we'll flip this card over, and it says you find a rope with a hook on the end of it. You decide it might be worth taking with you. If you ever choose to use it, then find card 30. And so I think we'll just go ahead and give that to the warrior. All right, so let's go ahead and, well, let's see. We've got to flip this over here. This has got a buzzing sound. All right, so then let's go ahead and go into room 6. Even though there's buzzing, that probably means more giant insects. But we do have to rearrange our characters here. And I think I'll go with the scout first. Or maybe the warrior. Let me do the warrior, I think. And then, so we'll place this here. Oh man, it's a bunch of bugs here. With a health of 15 and combat value of 8. And so the encounter card says, you are assailed by a swarm of giant wasps. The first hero in the room automatically takes 1 damage unless they were the scout. Well, that's not fair. I almost had the scout in as first. The swarm fights as an individual, but all heroes must fight and none gain bonuses from ganging up. So each of these fights are with their natural skill level. The scout gains +2 skill due to their quick reactions. If you defeat them, then you may search the room by flipping this card. Okay. So we start off with the warrior, and we'll roll. So that is a 16 against a 16. I guess we'll just leave it. No damage happens. So now we move on to the scout. Now the scout gets a +2, so that puts it at a 6 plus 7, that's 13, but that's still against a 15. I really don't want to take 2 damage right now, but I don't have much luck left. I think I'll go ahead and spend it anyways. And so we'll go ahead and re-roll this. It's a little bit better. So a 7 plus 7 plus 2, so 16 against a 13. So that's going to do 3 damage. That's not bad. I totally forgot to put the enemy up here. We'll just put him right there. So 3 damage there. And then we move on to the mage. I'm half tempted to use a firebolt, but I kind of want to keep it for later. But the mage only has 4 health left, so I have to be careful here. So the mage is 14, and the bug has 16. I can't afford to take the damage. I guess I'm going to spend 1 luck on that. That's not good. Well, that's better. So a 9 and a 6. So 15 against 14. I mean, that's 1 point of damage. I will take it. It's better than losing health. That's for sure. All right, the healer's up. 9. Nice. So we got a 16 against an 11. That's going to be 5 damage. That is awesome. So that brings it up to 9 damage total. So it only has 6 health left. When we go back to the start of combat, and we'll just keep the warrior as first. Oh, that was not a good roll. Alright, so the warrior's going to spend 1 to re-roll here. That was an awful roll. Oh my goodness, this is even worse. Yeah, I'm just going to have to re-roll this too. I don't have a choice. That's going to put me at -6 luck, which is 1 luck remaining. That's not good. At least he has that golden ring that gives him 1 re-roll every encounter. Alright, so that's a little bit better. So we have 6, so 15 against 13. That's 2 difference, plus 1 from the sword. So that'll be 3 damage. Alright, so they just have 3 health left. We'll go on to the scout here. And I think we'll use the deadly dagger again, so we have to roll a 6 or better. Definitely got that. That's going to be 2 damage against the enemy. Alright, so now it's the mage's turn. Good luck, mage. Wow. I think the mage just pulled off the win there. So let's see. We have 10, 16 against an 11. So, yep, the enemy's dead. So we'll go ahead and search the room, and it says Firebolt. You find a scroll which the mage recognizes as a Firebolt spell. It works exactly the same way as the ability card of the same name. You also notice the image of a blue dragon on the wall. If you wish to investigate it, then find card 35. So we'll keep this in the mage's inventory. We'll flip this card over here. It reveals that blue dragon. We'll go ahead and check that out. And it says, you scratch at the images and remove flakes of paint. You can discover nothing special about them. They are what they are. All right. So the dragon images are nothing. That is curious for sure. I think at this point, I'm going to end up moving up further. So we're going to go... Actually, you know what? Let's go back down to 18 here. Let's see. I'll keep the warrior in first here, and we'll go into room 18. Oh gosh, that was an awful idea. Giant scorpion with 8 health and 8 combat. And so it says, there is a giant scorpion in the room. You must fight it for at least 1 round. As it has 2 claws and a stinger, it can fight 3 heroes at the same time. So only the 4th hero to attack will gain a +1. If the scorpion rolls a 12, then it immediately kills the hero. You can still use luck to re-roll this result. If you kill it, you can search the room by flipping the card. Oh boy, that's not good. All right, so we start off with the warrior. Let's see, the one who's gonna, we'll just give the hero the +1. Set it right there. All right. So, a bad roll right off the bat with the warrior. Let's just go ahead and re-roll that with the free luck we get. Oh my goodness. 9 and 4. So that's going to be an 18, or sorry, a 17 for the enemy and a 13 for me. That means 4 damage. You know, I'm going to go ahead and use protection from the mage. Block all damage from one attack either against you or another hero. So we'll use that to block the damage against the warrior. And then we move on to the healer. The healer's going to roll with a gang up of 1. This is not good. The healer's just going to go ahead and re-roll that because that was an awful roll. Try this again. Alright, 7 and 7. And actually that's a tie because she's got a +1. Yep, that's a tie. So we'll go on to the scout. Scout has an 8 +7, so 15 against a 16. Well, the scout's going to have to take a damage at this point because that's probably what we had to do. And we'll move on to the mage here. I'm half tempted to just use a firebolt. Let's do that. We'll use the firebolt from the encounter card we got, and that'll deal 3 damage. Once again, I forgot to put the enemy up here. Alright, I think I'm going to swap the healer and the mage for the second round. And so we're going to attack again with the warrior here. So, 7 + 9 is 16, 8 and 8 is 16. I guess I couldn't ask for anything better other than, you know, hitting them, but that's okay. We'll just keep moving on. And I think we'll go ahead and use deadly daggers again and for this attack. And let's see. That is a 5, so it misses. It doesn't do anything. And then we're rolling for, oh, I forgot to roll for the mage. So we'll roll for the mage here. Mage has a +1. So that's 7 plus 6, 13 against 15. Ouch. Well, we're going to have to use luck on that or else the mage dies. All right, so 7 plus 7 is 14 against a 12. So that's going to do 2 damage. We can deal with that. And now the healer goes. There we go. 15 against an 11. So, yep, that scorpion is done. All right, and so we can search after the scorpion, and yet we find nothing of value. All right, at this point, I think I actually want to head up to the wailing sound after all. So I'm going to shift everything up right now. All right, I think with the wailing sound, that sounds like undead, so I'm going to put the healer first and the warrior second and so on. And sure enough, it is an undead creature with 10 combat and 8 health. And it says, at first the room seems to be empty, then you notice a haggard figure emerging from the gloom, a banshee. If the healer was the first to enter the room, they will immediately recognize the creature, giving them +1 skill in combat. After each round of combat, each hero must lose 1 luck or take 1 damage. If you defeat this creature, then flip this card. Ooh, this is really challenging here. So we add the creature here. The healer will be first and gets +1 for the whole combat, so that's kind of nice. But I'm wondering if I can use that holy water that I earned earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and use it. It says to check card 29. I never got the holy water in previous playthroughs, so I'm just having this feeling that I can use holy water against an undead creature, you know, like you'd expect in games like this. And it says if you use the holy water in room 4, it will immediately kill the creature. All right. And if you use it in a different room, it'll do something else. But you discard it after you use it. Well, that's excellent. And so we flip this over and it says the dying creature shrivels up before your eyes, eventually disappearing altogether. All that is left is a small brooch made of bone. Does any hero wish to take the bone brooch? If so, then find card 27. And there are images of dragons on the wall. You can investigate them if you find card 35, which we've done before. There's nothing about the dragons. Well, the mage decided, you know what, I'll take the chance and investigate that. And so the mage decided that they're going to touch the brooch and see what happens. And it says, as soon as any hero touches the brooch, it shatters into many small pieces. At the same time, a strange feeling comes over all of the heroes, as if all the luck sucked from you has been returned. All heroes recover all of their luck and go back to their starting amount. That is amazing. At this point, too, I think I'm going to go ahead and do some healing and rejuvenation. So we'll do healing first on the mage, and the mage will recover 3 health. And then we'll do rejuvenation, which gives one of my characters their card back, and I think we'll gain shield back for the warrior. Alright, so we gotta flip this card over. And let's see, do we want to go to number 3 with the flapping? I guess might as well, right? And so we got to rearrange our heroes before we enter the room. I think we're going to go back to the scout going first, and then the warrior, mage, and healer. I think that's best. And so we'll go into room number 3 here. And oh my goodness, what is that? That looks ugly. 11 combat value and 8 health. And it says that there's a winged serpent in the room. It immediately lashes out with its tail. The first hero in the room must roll 8+ to avoid taking 2 damage. The scout will gain +2 to this roll. If you defeat it, you can search this room by flipping this card. Alright, so the scout's going to roll here. An 11. Well, he did pretty well with that anyways. Okay, and so now we're going to attack the enemy, and we're going to gang up behind him. And there we go. We'll go with the scout first. It is the leading character, so he can't use his daggers. And so we'll just go ahead and roll. He gets a 6 plus 7. So that's 13 against a 16. So that means he's going to take 3 damage. Well, since he has full luck again, he might as well use the luck and re-roll here. And that's even worse. So we're going to try again, re-rolling. There we go. That looks better. All right, so 16 against a 14, and that's going to cause 2 damage against that enemy. And so now it's the warrior's turn, and we'll go ahead and roll. It's not too bad. We got a 15 against a 16. We'll go ahead and use our free luck and re-roll. Let's see. That's a 14 against a 15. I think I'll go ahead and use improved reactions, which adds +2 to this attack. And so that will make it so that I have 16 against the 15, and then I get +1 damage from my sword, so it'd be 2 damage. So now he has 4 health left. Oh, and I forgot there was actually a +1 to the warrior, so it's going to actually do 1 more damage. And now he has 3 health left. I could use the mage's firebolt and finish it off, but I just kind of want to save the firebolt. It's my only one left, so let's see what we do here. So we have 14 against 18. That is no good whatsoever. We'll spend a luck and re-roll. Well, that's a little bit better. So that's a 16 against a 17. I guess I wouldn't mind taking 1 damage. That's okay. So now he's -3 health. We'll move on to the healer. The healer has a 7 + 3 right off the bat. Oh, not even going to calculate that. That's a bad roll. We'll try again. Oh my goodness, that one's bad too. Man, this serpent is hard. All right, that might be good enough. So 14 against a 13. That'll deal 1 damage to the enemy, making it have 2 health left. All right, so we go back to the scout, I think, or actually let's rearrange it. Let's have this warrior go first this time and try this. That might be good enough. So that's a 17 against a 16 +1 damage with the sword. So that's 2 damage, and that's going to kill off the winged serpent. And so we'll flip this over here. And then we'll search the room, and we found a blue coin. All right, so that's great. Probably some of the coins that we need to open the chest. And we'll rearrange the characters. I think I'll go back to the scout. No, let's try the warrior in front again. There we go. And so we're going to move over. I think the only place we can move now is here or here. Let's go ahead and move into 17 here and see what happens. All right, so 17 here. And it says there's a small casket next to it, a flask of liquid marked poison. On the bottle it says, drink me to open the casket. Does any hero wish to drink the liquid? Flip this card if someone volunteers to do so. I guess we'll have the healer do it. Huh. The chest pops open and inside a green coin. Okay. Well, that's cool. I guess nothing happens. No poison, so that's done. That's nice. All right, so we're going to head back over here. The only room we can go in is room 19. And here we go. And it says, there is a plinth with a stone line on it. Along the edge of the plinth it says, do not remove. You can avoid removing the stone or take some other course of action. If the latter, then decide what you would like to do and who is doing it, and then flip this card. That doesn't sound good to me at all, so I'm just not going to do it. I think we'll just move on to a different room. I'm going to go ahead and rearrange everything here for ease of seeing everything. Alright, before we do anything, I'm going to go ahead and use Healing Hands on the mage here, recovering his 3 damage. I'm going to keep this order here, and we're going to move into room number 8, and that's this room here. And so it says a large pit of spikes is at the bottom, bars your way. The gap is too big to jump. Discuss possible solutions, then flip this card. Well, I have a rope with the warrior here. A rope with a hook. So I think that's what we're going to use. And so we'll flip this card here, and it says the following solutions will allow you to cross and recross this room. And one of them is using a rope. And so if you came up with one of these, and each hero gains 1 luck. Well, that's kind of nice. Except my warrior was already max luck. But still, that's nice. And so now we're able to continue. And so I used up my rope, and that gets discarded. But now we finish this room here. And we'll go ahead and flip this one over. And then we'll move on to room 20. And here we go. Oh my goodness. I don't know what that is. And it says, you are faced with a strange plant-like vinemen. They do not seem friendly. If you wish to pass through this room, you will need to defeat them. Do you attack the creatures with normal weapons? If so, flip this card. If you have another idea on a plan, then find card 34. Well, they're vine creatures. That probably means that they're flammable. I have 1 firebolt left. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. And we'll go to card 34 and see what it says. It says, if the mage decides to use a firebolt, then immediately kill the creature. If you perform one of the options above, then do so. Otherwise, your adventure ends here. Well, we've finished that, so we'll just flip this over here. And now there's 1 more room it goes down 1 room here. And so we'll just kind of move these up a little bit here, make more room, and we'll go into room 12. And so room 12 has this giant urn in it here, and we'll see what it says. And it says there's a large jar with various color plunges on it: red, gold, violet, yellow, silver, blue, and green. A script reads, your desire can be found at the end of the rainbow. Do you wish to press a plunger, and if so, which one? Well, at the end of the rainbow is violet, right? And so we'll check. If you press the violet plunger, then the jar cracks open to reveal a red coin. All right, we did. So now we have red, yellow, green, and blue coins. So we're doing good there. We'll flip this over here. And then we're going to move on. We only have one spot we can go, and it's this way. We've already gotten everything down this way. And so we'll move to 25. I think I'll keep the same order with the warrior first. And so we go into 25 here. 8 combat value and 10 health. That doesn't sound good. And it says you are faced by a massive warrior in armor. Any damage you do is reduced by 1. If you defeat them, you may search the room by flipping this card. All right, so we're going to gang up on him, placing him right here, and all of my characters behind. And we'll go ahead and roll for the warrior here. See what we get. Oh my goodness, snake eyes. That couldn't possibly be worse, could it? Okay, so we're going to use my free luck with the warrior and try again. Wow, that's so good. Okay, so 10 plus 9, 19 against an 11. So it's 8 damage, minus 1 from his ability, but plus 1 from my sword. So 8 damage against him. He is almost dead. Like, the warrior got like a total critical hit right there. And so we'll go ahead with the scout. We're going to try the deadly daggers here. We just need to roll a 6 or better, and that'll do the last 2 damage to kill him. Oh, it's a 5. Of course it is. Well, that ends the scout's turn. We'll move on to the mage. And the mage has a plus 2. Oh, actually, I wondered that there was a plus 1 on the scout. I wonder if that counted towards that roll. I would imagine so. I'm sure they'll correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I would imagine that added to that roll, making a 6 and killing off this creature here. So that's done. And so we check the other side of the card, and we find nothing of value. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and clear out these cards and move everything down here so we can see a little bit better. Probably don't need these cards either, because we just have these 2 ways to go now. And I kind of want to avoid the moaning, so we're going to go straight forward, room number 7. And that's that room here. And it says to leave this place, one must remain behind. Let's see what the encounter card says. It says, as you enter the room, the door slams shut behind you. You find that you can't open either door. There's an inscription on the plaque. To leave this place, one must remain behind. Choose a hero to take this card. As soon as they take it, they disappear and you hear the lock on the door ahead open. You notice a strange symbol on the door ahead. Note, you can only leave the room this way, not the way you came in. Whoever takes this card can flip it. Oh, that's tough. Well, I'm going to give it to healer, I think. Yeah, I'll give it to the healer. The healer used up all her heals, so we'll give it to the healer. We flip over. It says, I respect your brave decision to sacrifice yourself. The last thing you remember is everything going dark. From now on, you cannot communicate with your fellow heroes. Wow, that's too bad. So place this here. Place the healer token there. And so we're moving into door 14 now. There's only 3 cards left, so we got to be getting close to the end here. Oh, wow. Check out this guy. And by the way, I was going in that same order. Warrior, Scout, and Mage. And so this guy here has 12 attack and 9 health. And it says, the Guardian of the Chamber attacks. The first hero in the room automatically takes 3 damage unless they are the mage who can block the magical blast. The mage gains +4 in skill in this combat. Oh, ouch. Alright, so the warrior is going to take 3 damage right off the bat. And we'll go ahead and line everything up here. We'll have the warrior first. We'll do the mage last. That gives the mage a +6 with the modifier here. I'll move this over here. Alright, so we're going to start off with the warrior here. Oh! 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 I don't know if you remember, but the well-crafted sword instantly kills anything you hit with a natural 12. Sorry if I yelled in the mic there, but wow! What a way to go. That guy is gone. that was an epic roll if I ever saw one. That was so good. Alright. So we're done with that. There's nothing on the back of that encounter card, so we're ready to go into room 22. Let's see what's in there. Look, there's the chest. And it says you find the chest containing the Orb of Lucis. You must place 3 coins in the correct order in the slots on the chest going from left to right. Choose an order and flip this card. If you do not have all the coins, then your adventure ends in failure. Well, I have red, yellow, blue, and green. What if we did red, green, blue in that order? I mean, like RGB, you know? Let's see what it says. Oh, the correct order is blue, green, red. If you got this right, then you gain the Orb of Lucis. Otherwise, the chest vanishes and you have failed miserably. A door opens ahead of you, which takes you out of the dungeon. When you leave, you find your hero from room 7. Well, I didn't get the order right on that room. That's just how it goes. And so that has been the tutorial and solo playthrough of Fighting Fantasy Adventures. You'll have to check out the Kickstarter. I'll have a link in my description, and it's coming to Kickstarter on July 1st. Feel free to ask me any questions in the comments below. Please also like and subscribe to this channel if you like the content you see here. And if you'd like to support me on Patreon, you'll find a link in the description for that. And I thank everyone who has supported me thus far. And I thank you very much for joining me on Tabletop for One. Have a great night.